You're here because you want to really understand and maybe get ready to work step 4 of Narcotics Anonymous.
Yeah, the one that goes, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves.
Exactly. And that's what we're aiming for today, a really thorough look.
And to do that, we're digging into the key NA sources. We've got the basic text, specifically the 6th edition.
Right.
It works, how and why, and also the NA step working guides. So kind of the core library for this.
Think of this as a guided tour, maybe, getting you prepped for step 4.
It's a big one, this step.
Yep.
Definitely a turning point.
For sure. I mean, you've done the groundwork with the first 3 steps, right? Admitting powerlessness, believing in something more.
Making that decision in step 3, yeah.
And now step 4 is, well, it's time for that honest look in the mirror, like really honest.
It's about uncovering those patterns, the stuff that keeps happening, and, seeing our part in it all, taking responsibility.
Absolutely. And the core principles here seem to be rigorous honesty and humility.
That's it. It's about letting that ego go just for a bit and admitting, okay, I'm not perfect, but not in a self-punishing way.
Right. It's constructive. The basic text puts it really well. I think it's page 69.
Oh, yeah.
It says, as we continue to grow in the program, we come to realize that our defects of character are the very things that block us off from a higher power and from our fellow human beings.
So it's about those blocks, what's getting in the way of connection, not just with higher power, but with people too.
Exactly. And finding those blocks, according to page 70, that's what leads to a new freedom and a new happiness, like clearing a path.
Yeah, clearing away the debris, I think the text calls it, page 71.
Yeah, debris of our past. So those spiritual principles have space to actually, grow.
It makes sense. You can't plant seeds in ground covered with rocks and weeds, right? You got to clear it first.
So this honest look, this inventory, it's really creating that fertile ground for growth, for connection.
For a deeper relationship with that higher power, however you understand it.
Exactly. Okay, so we have these different texts. They probably look at this step from a slightly different angle.
You do, yeah. Let's start with it works. How and why? What's its main take on step 4?
Well, what jumps out from it works is how it really gets into the psychological side of things. The stuff that makes step 4 hard.
Like what specifically?
Shame, low self-worth. Chapter 5 talks about being afraid of what we'll find, afraid that we'll be too ashamed to face it.
Ah, okay. So it acknowledges that fear is a big part of it, that resistance.
Totally. Digging into past mistakes, regrets. It's naturally intimidating, isn't it?
For sure. But work seems to handle it with, empathy.
Yeah, it does. It frames the inventory not as, a way to beat yourself up with guilt and shame.
Yeah,
More like moving beyond that, toward self-acceptance, towards growth. It kind of says, yeah, this is tough, these feelings are real, but here's why we do it anyway.
So it validates the difficulty, but keeps the focus on the positive outcome. Self-assessment for growth, not punishment.
Exactly. Now, how about the NA step working guide? That sounds like the nuts and bolts.
That's a good way to put it. The step working guide is the practical roadmap. It takes this big idea of a moral inventory and breaks it down. Worksheets, specific questions.
Ah, the worksheets. Right. It makes it feel more manageable.
Definitely. For instance, take resentments. It's not just list who you resent.
Yeah. Well,
It gives you columns. Like, who or what do I resent? Okay, that's the start. Then why do I resent them? Gets specific.
okay.
Then, the really key ones. What part did I play? And what did I do to bring it on?
Wow. Okay, that shifts the focus quite a bit from just being wrong to seeing your own actions.
Exactly. It moves you out of that victim mindset and forces you to look at your own contribution, even in situations where you felt totally justified in your resentment.
That sounds potentially uncomfortable, but really useful.
It is. And that systematic approach is why the guide is so helpful. It makes searching feel less like wandering lost in your past and more like, a structured investigation.
You categorize things, connect them to character defects. It makes it less scary, maybe?
Less scary, more thorough, and ultimately more effective. Yeah.
So thinking about these different angles, what are the main things we're actually looking for in this inventory? We mentioned harmful patterns.
Right. Those repeated behaviors. Things like maybe always reacting with fear or holding on to resentments like they're treasures.
Or self-pity, manipulation, things that kept cropping up, especially in active addiction.
Yeah, those cycles that cause problems for us and, for the people around us. That's the harmful patterns part.
And the other one was avoided truths. What falls under that?
That's the stuff we've maybe consciously or unconsciously tried not to look at.
Okay.
Like specific harms we caused, times we were dishonest, not just with others, but maybe with ourselves too.
Mm.
Or that underlying pride, the thing that often fuels those defects of character.
So bringing that stuff out into the open, no more hiding.
That's the goal. Honest self-assessment means looking at it all.
Okay. Now, you mentioned our listener is keen on preparing for this and shared some reflection prompts. Let's maybe walk through those. Starting with resentments.
Sounds good.
The first prompt is just listing them all. Everyone, every institution, every principle.
Yeah.
Getting it all down.
Yeah, just getting it out of your head and onto paper, that's a huge first step. But then it goes deeper.
Right. What specific actions caused the resentment? What situation?
And then, crucially, what were the exact thoughts and feelings? Was it anger? Fear? Hurt? A sense of injustice? Naming the feeling is powerful.
Understanding the emotional charge behind it.
Exactly. And the last prompt for resentments asks how it's impacted your life and relationships.
Connecting the internal feeling to the external consequences. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, seeing the real-world cost of holding on to that stuff.
Okay, moving to fears. The prompts ask about the deepest fears around addiction and recovery.
Mm-hmm. And how those fears have actually, driven your decisions or behaviors.
Fear is a powerful driver, often not in a good way.
Definitely. And it also asks about fears you consistently avoid acknowledging.
Ah, back to those avoided truths again. The things lurking in the shadows.
Pretty much. Facing them is key. Then there's harms done to others.
This sounds like a tough section, listing specific instances.
Yeah. Who was harmed? How were they harmed? Being really specific.
And it asks about your motivations back then.
Yeah.
And justifications.
Right. What was going on in your head at the time? Why did you think it was okay or necessary? And then the critical part, how do you feel about it now?
That requires real honesty and courage. That fearless part of the step description.
Absolutely. It's not easy. But then, importantly, the prompts also suggest looking at positive attributes.
Ah, okay, so it's not all negative digging.
No, definitely not. Identifying your strengths, your good qualities, times you acted with integrity. That's vital.
Why is that so important?
Well, it stops the inventory from just being a beat-down session, doesn't it? It gives you a balanced picture.
Yeah, a more compassionate self-portrait. Reminds you you're not just the sum of your mistakes.
Exactly. It acknowledges the whole person. Your capacity for good exists alongside the defects. Seeing both is crucial for real self-acceptance.
Okay. It's also clear how this step 4 really leans on the first 3. Step 1's honesty.
Foundational. You can't do a rigorously honest inventory in step 4 if you weren't willing to be honest about powerlessness back in step 1. It just doesn't work.
And step 2, believing in that higher power.
That belief can provide the courage, really, the strength to face what you find in the inventory without crumbling, trusting there's support available.
Makes sense. And step 3, turning your will and life over.
That decision helps cultivate the willingness to do step 4. To trust that this self-examination, even the painful parts, is part of a bigger recovery process guided by that power, letting go of trying to control what you find.
So it sounds like this step is, well, challenging is probably an understatement for many.
Oh, absolutely. Facing those uncomfortable truths, dealing with the shame or fear that comes up, that's a major hurdle. The fear of, what if I find out I'm truly awful, can be paralyzing.
Yeah. But the potential benefits seem huge, too. Like those prompts suggested getting hope, understanding fears better.
And seeing where maybe you caused harm without meaning to. Plus, understanding your patterns gives you power over them. You start to see the why behind your actions.
What part did I play? The question seems like it could unlock a lot.
It really can. It shifts perspective dramatically. Moving from blame to responsibility, even for just a small part, is incredibly empowering.
So any practical tips for someone getting ready to actually do step 4?
Find a quiet time and place. Try to approach it without judging yourself constantly. Easier said than done, I know.
Yeah.
Journaling is almost essential for most people. Just writing it all down and really lean into both words. Searching. Be thorough. Don't skip stuff.
Sure.
And fearless. Find the courage to look at it, even when it's hard.
It's not meant to be rushed.
Definitely not. It takes the time it takes.
And looking ahead, how does doing this work in step 4 set you up for later steps?
It's completely linked. The inventory you create in step 4. That's basically the script for step 5 when you share it all.
Ah, okay, makes sense.
The character defects you identify. That's what you focus on in step 6 and 7, becoming willing to have them removed.
Right.
And the list of harms done. That directly becomes your amends list for step 8. It all flows together. Step 4 is like the central hub connecting the earlier awareness to the later action.
It really does sound pivotal, a cornerstone of the whole process.
That truly is.
So, wrapping this up, this deep dive was about getting you, our listener, familiar and maybe more comfortable with the idea of step 4, that searching and fearless moral inventory.
Yeah, we've looked at the honesty and humility involved, pulled insights from the basic text. It works. The step working guides.
Talked about resentments, fears, harms, but also those important positive qualities.
And seen how it connects to everything else in the program.
It's a challenge, no doubt about it, but it's presented as a necessary challenge on the path to that new freedom and a new happiness.
Absolutely. So if you're approaching step 4, our advice is to go in with courage, be willing to learn, and be as honest as you possibly can be.
Which leads us to our final thought for you today. What new possibilities might open up in your recovery journey when you commit to seeing yourself with complete honesty and without fear?